At 20 to 1 morning line, is Just Steel an insta toss or is he a bargain? Find out. Watch the video.
Trust the Profits is proud to be sponsored by Game of Silks. Go to silks.io to get in the game. Real ownership, real races, real rewards.
Sure bet coffee.
What is better than pouring through PP, looking at past performances for Kentucky Derby contenders, hitting that aroma of the coffee as you're scratching things off and circling things with your highlighter and whatnot. The only thing better than that is getting 20% off of that, right? 20% off TTP 20 at surebetcoffee.com. Great product. It's aligned with what you want to be doing, is looking up horse racing stats and looking through past performances and figuring out who you're going to take on the Derby day. So hit that up. Um, Give them our love. Trust the profits. We love our Sure Bet coffee. I am here today to give you a Derby spotlight on Just Steel. That's right, Just Steel. I just had the drawing the other day. Got the sixth position, 20 to 1 morning line. Is that a good number for Just Steel? Is that a good position for Just Steel? We'll dip into that a little bit. I got a couple videos to show you as well, which should be a lot of fun for everybody. Just Steel. Um, hey, if you're playing Game of Silks, you got to be loving Just Steel. $7,000 in winnings, plus another 54 on top of that. 11 starts, 2 firsts, 4 seconds, and a third. I mean, if I could do the math on that, it looks like about 7 times out of 11 this horse is hitting the money. Pretty darn solid, Just Steel, and hitting some pretty big races as well. So you're going to find out my opinions on Just Steel pretty quickly here as we start to dig into this. So trainer, the coach D. Wayne Lucas, the jockey Keith Asmussen, and the sire Justify. I mean, Justify's been putting out some pretty strong progeny. If you look at the Oaks, just FYI is entered into the Oaks. Last year we had Verifine entered into the Kentucky Derby. This year we also have Just a Touch. Just a Touch, I got that right? Just a something. Also entered into the Derby under Justify. I mean, this is turning out to be a pretty strong sire here. So in terms of pedigree, Just Steel, checks the box there for sure. How he got here, you're looking at a whole bunch of second places. Not sexy. I understand. You want to see that big first place finish, but let's go through it. Second place at the Arkansas Derby. I'll show you that one in a second here. Second place at the Southwest Stakes and second place at Smarty Jones. Did win the Ed Brown Stakes. Not as impressive as getting second in those races in terms of who he's facing and whatnot and how early that is in the Derby path. Um, but yeah, I'll show you a couple videos here as we go through the good and the bad on Just Steel. Yeah, race notes. At his best, he's going to be a horse that runs close to the pace. I'll show you a couple examples where he's running his race and not running his race. Um, and then what I noticed about him is when it gets to that stretch run, he seems to be able to maintain. So some horses uh, pace and fade. Other horses pace and maintain. Some horses pace and drive through. He's one that I feel pace and maintains to drive through. Again, I'll show you an example. In terms of pedigree, we hit that already. Justify, a Derby winner, quite an excellent horse in his time. Obviously, there's a bit of an asterisk next to his name if you're talking about Santa Anita Derby, but regardless, Justify was an amazing horse, and I think that's being proven out with his progeny. Pace profile, does stalk the pace, stays strong down the stretch. Yeah. What else can you say? He's going to be 2 to 3 lengths probably off the pace. If this was a smaller race, maybe one where the pace doesn't get so electric, he might be like 1 length off of the pace, possibly even setting it. But I think he likes to stay a little bit off. Um, and then let's talk about top speed figures. So 112 Equibase speed figure, not bad at the Arkansas Derby, not bad for coming in second place. That was a 97 on BreezeNet for the same one. 97, just a little bit higher than I think what he got at Southwest as well. Um, yeah, and my projection here is if his strategy maintains, he's got the 6 hole there. I think when everything breaks, he's going to try to find his way up to the front. Lay, I would say 2 to 3 lengths off. I think 3 lengths in the Derby is probably going to be ideal for a horse like Just Steel. I think he should have enough charge down the stretch to still make a difference. When other horses are dropping back, a Track Venom, for example, TO Password, He is going to be a horse that you're hoping, again, if he runs his race, he's going to have enough drive to be passing those horses and maybe holding off some of the ones that are charging from behind, your Honor Marie's, Sierra Leone's. I think he's going to have enough left in him to potentially make an in the money finish, third place, maybe fourth if you're playing a superfecta. I think he's definitely a horse that is alive to those spots, and at 20-1 morning line, I think you get great value there. So let's take a look, and I apologize if this is difficult to read. We're doing our best here. Um, but yeah, as I said before, okay, so he got the 96 at the Ed Brown, but looking at the top there, that's the Arkansas Derby. Let me reel it back first, and let's talk about his seventh place finish at the Rebel. Let's start with bad and go into the good. So obviously, if you look at the past six races, we'll start with Ed Brown first, second, seventh, second. So that seventh sticks out. Why did it happen? So let's do some quick math here. When did he run previous to the Rebel Stakes, where he finished seventh? He ran a Southwest Stakes in the muck on February 3rd. 21 days later, 3 weeks, 21 days later is when he ran in the Rebel. So it's on a short cycle. I mean, we're talking about like Encino 4 weeks out from the Derby. Is that too little rest? Brad Cox, for example, like Sean said yesterday, ideally he likes 5 weeks in between races for his horses to run at their peak. So already he's on a shortened cycle there. And let me just show you what that looks like. So keep in mind here, I'm going to show you uh, the start of the Rebel Stakes. Just Steel, the 11 horse, breaking from way outside. Again, that's another thing to consider here, breaking from way outside. And this is a horse that we said wants to be close to the front. So watch this. Yep, so there he goes right there, way on the outside. He's about six wide now going into that turn. Um, yeah, it's maintaining about five or six wide, not really falling into where he wants to, sort of cutting back in. And we can already see that he's starting from about 5 lengths off of the pace there. Um, and yeah, we're already at the quarter, and he has not made up much ground there, not being exactly where he wants to be. Right. So that's the start of the race. Already putting himself in a position that he does not want to be in, expended a lot of energy just to get there. And now let's take a look at the finish of the Rebel here, keeping in mind that he is 11. Okay, the seven horse here you're going to see is going to start to break. That is Timberlake. Timberlake sees a hole there. Just Steel is going to be right behind him. Timberlake is cutting across, going about three wide here. Just Steel's right on him. He picks the right four wide, picks the right horse to get behind. Timberlake, full of energy, has it ready. He's been on a long rest. Just Steel does not have the kick down the stretch that Timberlake does. So he's starting to lose distance on him already, 3 lengths back. He's getting close to the six horse there. You can see it's pretty well packed in there for second, third, fourth, but Timberlake has it all. Right, and he's diving down the stretch in the 11. You can see back there for seventh place finish. Not great. Not smooth like you want to see from Just Steel. Okay, but then what happened at the Arkansas Derby? So another thing to note there was the three-quarter time, right? So if we're talking about pace, 47.67 was the three-quarter time there. Now let's pick up the Arkansas Derby here. Okay, so Just Steel is sitting back there at 8, getting 32-1. He's only 1 length off the lead, and he is going three wide right now. Keep in mind, he is going three wide. Look at the time up there, 47.46. The pace is a little bit heavier in this race. The seven horse Muth, he's getting right up on Muth. Timberlake there for 2. He's actually pushing Muth now. So Muth is starting to make his move. We know exactly what's going to happen here. So Timberlake is starting to fall behind Just Steel. It looks like Just Steel is about to fall off, but then rounds the corner here and watch what happens. Muth starts to take off, and so does Just Steel. Timberlake falls back from behind. So it looks like Muth is starting to add some distance, but then look what Just Steel has here. He starts to close in on Muth just a little bit. He's going to finish like 2.5 lengths off of Muth, but he has given it a push down the stretch. So here's a quote for you. If you like Muth, you like Just Steel. It's hard not to. This goes back to talking about Mage last year. If you liked Forte, then you should like Mage. Muth is not going to be in the Kentucky Derby. Who was not far off? Who would have won that race if it weren't for Muth? It would have been Just Steel. So now we start to play that consideration into place here, right? Finishing a 149 in 9 furlongs. I mean, that puts Just Steel right where you want to be. I would say anything under 150 is something you want to look for, in my opinion. Some people don't like to look at race times as much. I do, but if you start to get under 150, that's a horse I would instantly want to consider just based off of their race times. Mage had it last year. Two Phils had it last year. Angel of Empire had it last year, and that was your trifecta. That was your trifecta of horses that were in the Kentucky Derby last year. Doesn't always happen. I don't think Rich Strike had under 150. I'd have to take a look. Maybe someone in the comments will correct me on that. But anyhow, yes. So there you have it. That is my spiel on Just Steel. He's a horse that I'm going to be playing in my trifecta box. I don't know how many horses I'm going to be loading into that, but Just Steel's going to be one of them. I think it's definitely a horse that could be there, one that could maintain down the stretch. You just hope that horses like Sierra Leone, Honor Marie don't have enough kick down the stretch, don't find that wiggle room in order to close on him, and maybe Just Steel is going to end up being there. Or you just pack Connor Marie and Sierra Leone in there as well. There's all sorts of options. Anyway, Sherbet Coffee, trust the profits. TTP 20 for 20% off. Don't forget that. And good luck at the races.